Alors, nous avons aujourd'hui une oratrice spéciale qui dira quelques mots sur ce que cette journée représente pour elle et son peuple. Sedalia Gawendoas, native de Kanawagé, est née active au sein de la communauté Canyen Kehaka, qui représente et défend les droits des Autochtones au Canada. Today, we have a special guest speaker today who will say a few words on what this day represents for her and her people. Sedalia Gawendoas, native of Kanawaki, active elder with the Canyen Kehaka community. She represents and defends the rights of First Nations people in Canada. Please, s'il vous plaît, applaudissons pour Madame Gawendoas.
Where?
Ooh. Am I on now? Okay. Gwe, what's going on with this? Gwe, Gavano da Shijats, Waxkare, Wagatanganagan, Iduagataju. Then what's going on with this? Wagwe could see Jojage, so it's. So, hello, my name is Gawanodas. I'm Bear Clan, and I'm from Ganawage. And I welcome you all to Jojage, unceded Mohawk territory. When they asked me to come here today to speak, I thought about it for a while and didn't understand why. But there are many reasons why the Indigenous people should be here with you arm in arm. Not only the Indigenous people, because no one on this land has suffered as much as your people, my people, and the Asian people. All people of color have been held in bondage for generations. It doesn't matter if we're red, black, or yellow. As long as we're not white, we're held in bondage. It is a sad truth that many will not recognize. Right now, my people are going through a very hard time because of all the graves that are being found. Because of all the missing and murdered Indigenous women. So yes, there was a reason why I came here. It's for people to recognize that no matter what color you are, red, black, or yellow, you have been held in bondage for a very long time. Even though we're free now, we're still in some ways in bondage. Because there's so much history of our people that is not being told. And that's what's holding us. That's what's tying us down. Those true histories of these lands, those true histories of how Canada is not that perfect country that the whole world thinks it is. Canada did a lot of harm. Whether they want to admit it or not. So yeah, we may be free today. We are physically free. But are we mentally, psychologically, and spiritually free? Or are we still being held in bondage because they refuse to accept the true history? This is what we need. We need that true history to be told. So many of my people were lost. So many of our women are still missing. So many of our girls. So many of our men are still missing. So many of those babies who were put into residential schools, ripped out of their families' homes, are still missing. Those families still have no idea where those children are. And for those who don't believe, you know, I was so disgusted this week when I found out about that priest or that minister that was preaching in his church about how the people from residential school were lying about what happened to them, lying about the physical and sexual abuse because they wanted more money from the government. I'm sorry, but during the Truth and Reconciliation, I sat in the sweat lodge for 4 days. I had 4 sweat lodges a day with those residential school survivors. I listened to those stories in that sweat lodge, and trust me, those tears, that screaming, that yelling in that lodge, in those lodges, were not made up. They weren't made up for the government to say, oh, let us give them more money. I'm sorry. You know, for the little bit of money that's being handed out for both the residential schools and the Indian day schools, to be honest with you, I got my check for Indian day school, and I got the highest level. And that check sat on my table for days before I cashed it. I looked at that check and said, is that all my life is worth? Is that all the abuse that I went through? Is that all it's worth? Was it worth reliving the nightmares? Because I did relive them doing that claim, whatever you call it, filling out those papers. I had to tell my story all over again.
Speak, sister, speak.
So I had to relive it. So with that, I beg you all, go into those schools, tell those true stories. Tell our true history. We can't do this alone. We have to do it together. Thank you.
Avez-vous compris qu'est-ce qu'elle avait dit? Elle a dit clairement, we can't do it alone, we have to do it together. Il faut qu'on commence à travailler ensemble. We need allies to make a difference for marginalized and racialized communities. Thank you for educating us, it's very important. Maintenant, voulez-vous souhaiter la bienvenue à Dr. Sabrina Jafali, PhD, éducatrice, cofondatrice du Centre for Religious Literacy et défenseur de la justice sociale, qui partagera avec nous ses réflexions sur cette journée spéciale de l'émancipation. And now please welcome Dr. Sabrina Jafali, PhD, educator, co-founder of the Center for Religious Literacy, and social justice advocate to the stage, who will share her thoughts on this special day, Emancipation Day. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. It's true, I'm short, so thank you so much for acknowledging that. Miigwech, thank you so much for giving those words to us and letting us know that we are in allyship and partnership in building a better Canada. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Again, I want to start by acknowledging with gratitude that I'm standing here on these unceded territories of our Indigenous people. This land, as it was said, is built upon the blood, sweat, tears, and pain of our Indigenous and African people. And so today, we have to carry on emancipating ourselves. Hello, family. Hello, family. Come on, let's go. I'm a teacher. Hello, family. Perfect. Bonjour. I want to thank you all for this time. I think we should start with breaking down this word emancipate or emancipation. To emancipate is the process of setting someone free or being free from slavery. So yes, it's true, today Canada decided 186 years ago that human beings should be set free. So let's let that sink in for a moment. Someone decided that we should be set free. And yet, you and I both know we were born free. And our histories don't start in slavery. So again, I'm asking you, what are we really celebrating? To be honest, I'm not overjoyed by Canada's decision to set human frees, but I will tell you what I'm excited about. I'm excited that we can be totally free. Right now, we're physically liberated. We can move around, we can get a job, we can buy a house, we can build a life. But as the sister said before me, is that real freedom? Is it really freedom? I want us to take a moment. Lower your gaze, if you'd like, close your eyes, and let's imagine. Imagine what it could be for us to be 100% free and how we're going to get it. Imagine a world where we didn't need prisons that was filled with 30% of Black and Indigenous folks when we represent 3% of the population. Imagine a world where we could destroy to rebuild. I'd like you to imagine that. To rebuild, we have to be spiritually and mentally free. Spiritual freedom is something we all have to do. We do this because we have a right to live in a society where people know our value. A space where we're free from questions of, where are you from? No, where are you really from? Or, there was slavery in Canada? Why is the N-word so bad? Is that your hair or lack thereof? Can I touch it? How long have you been in Canada? We are Canada. But there's another level of spiritual freedom. We also have to free ourselves from our own mistrust in our own community. To truly emancipate, we need to conquer and address our colonial thinking. This means we have to realize we are more than our islands, colonial languages, labels, and to see each other as connected ancestral family. Marcus Garvey says, we're going to emancipate ourselves from slavery because while others might free the body, none but ourselves can free the mind. So we, you, and me are created in and from God. And what we demand from others, we should be demanding from ourselves. Today I'm asking you to honor the God in each of us in order to gain that spiritual liberation. This last part to our complete freedom is our mind. And our mind is the real battleground. We're faced with a Canadian story that always excludes us or slots us in as slaves or savages. A story that would love for us to play the role that suits them. But this is mental warfare. And there's no other option but to include our Canadian story. Do you know why? I'm going to tell you why. Today I'm wearing these wonderful pioneers on my shirt. Sojourner, Harriet, Maya, Rosa, and Kamala. And I'm here to tell you today that we are the Harriet Tubmans of today. We are the 21st century abolitionists. Ms. Tubman had to fight off slave catchers, dogs, weather, and had to find a place to be free. We too have to fight off those mental slave catchers, the way we think about each other and the way people think about us. And that means we have to protest against laws and policies designed to keep us in our place. But we do this to get to the promised land, that full freedom. This liberation is waiting for all of us. So I'm asking you today, will you go for it? Will you trust yourself? Will you trust others? Will we emancipate? If you're truly ready to be free, then I'm going to ask you today to take this pledge with me. I call it the Abolitionist Pledge. So with your fist in the air, don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging. That's really bad. As a teacher, I'll feel bad if you leave me hanging. I ask you to take this leap for freedom. Today, I, you, and we fight to be completely free, physically, spiritually, and mentally. Today, we strive to overcome our suspicions towards our community and instead honor each other. Today, we pledge to stand together and not against. We will continue to build a community that values our differences. Today, I, you, and we will continue to uproot weeds of injustice and enchain ourselves from a system that's not for us and find restorative justice. Today, we choose to be free unapologetically. Today, we decide to be abolitionists. Thank you.